What's up, Chase? What are you up to, man? I'm just putting some final cuts on a couple of cutting boards I sold. So I had a live earlier, but I had to change the blades on my planer blade. Lost a screw. What's up, plywood? So I'm back for round 2. Nice. So Chase, are you done with all the home renovations or repairs on your new place or what, man? Hey Ray, fast forward to part 2. What's up, man? This is where a crosscut sled comes in really handy in the shop. This is where I use it the most. Thanks, Ray. Had to get away from the dust a little bit. I don't like breathing it in. But yeah, I saw your message or your what you said, Ray. Those I made a box joint jig about a month ago, and it didn't turn out like I needed. My test joint turned out great, but then when I did it, all the slots were too tight, so I had to switch and make it with my Festool. That was for that keepsake box I built. So yeah, so my next step is to sand these with 220. Then I'm going to spray them down with water, let it dry so it's popping the grain, and then we're going to sand it one more time. Then I've got to engrave one of those because one of those boards are sold. So that's what I'm working on. Hope you guys are having a good one. Chase, what's for lunch, man? I'm going to mask back up. Hey, Pilato, I spray it with water. It's called popping the grain. It makes it super smooth. So what's going to happen as this dries, come on, as this dries, it's going to raise the grain, making it rough to the touch. So thanks, Suzanne. So what you do that. It's called popping the grain, and then you sand it again. It's going to be super smooth. Also, if you don't do that, then the first time it touches water in someone's home, it's going to be rough to the touch. So these are maple, cherry, walnut, and these are different sticks of walnut. So there's some variation. Same thing with the maple. I had different sticks. So maple, cherry, walnut, same thing over there. Just a different design. So cherry, maple, maple, walnut, cherry. So pretty cool wood. I'm over here, so the dust, I've got my dust catcher, but you know, that takes a while. So I don't like breathing in the dust. So that's what I'm doing today for the moment. Hey, Suzanne, appreciate you. So there's the D&D table. I've kind of started it. I've got the legs cut. Tell you what, this is a challenging build. So these are the legs for the Dungeons and Dragons table I'm building. I am filming as I go. I've got a members only live on how I designed it. Come on, Pilato, you know the answer. So that's what I'm doing today. I'm also going to probably do a review. I had a nail gun sent to me, and it's probably going to be a bad review because right now, the first time I tried, it wouldn't even work. So you'll get some up close and personal reviews. I'm not going to lie just because they sent me something for free, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm working on. So we're going to let these dry, then I'm going to sand it again. You guys want to see my design software for the laser? So that's what I'm doing right now. I'll show you how I set it up. All right, let me go over there. And I've actually got to send a proof to a customer to make sure they like it. I think, let's see what I've got over here. I don't have it set up to where I can share my screen yet, but we'll just do this. Let me show you my process. Hey, YouTube's up. Big surprise. I gotta remember what she wanted on it first. Slowly loading. My internet out here is not the best. I've been meaning to run a cable, but I haven't made it happen yet. This is their 5th year anniversary. So let me move this over so you can see it a little better. So it's their 5th anniversary, so this is what she wants it to say. 5 years and forever to go, and trying to remember, Baskerville Old Face. That's my most popular font for stuff I sell. And then what I do, this is how I do it for boards. I'll draw a box and set it the size of my board, and that should be 11 by 17 is my standard size I make. And I need to go measure it, but It's actually 17 by 11, sorry. And I think she just wanted it on the bottom right corner, so nothing too crazy big. So the text is going to be a little over 3/4 of an inch. Kind of tells you right there the size. So that is what I'm going to send her for a proof. And then you can just screenshot it. And that's what I'm sending her. So if she approves it, I'm ready to engrave after I sand. That's how I do it. I'm sure everyone else does it a lot different, right? Boondock. What's up, Jamie? What are you doing, man? I'm just engraving a cutting board. We just made a couple of cutting boards today. Had to sand them and plane them and all that good stuff, route them. Yeah, Pilato, that's my laser software. It's called Lightburn. Here's my big boy laser, Pilato. Don't start drooling. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, sorry. Cue the dramatic music. Yeah, I'll be using this bad boy. That's my big boy laser. Don't even ask how much it costs. Way too much. Building a boat pier. Oh, that's cool. Jamie, where are you at? Are you in the Carolinas? I can't remember. I know you're back east somewhere. I'm in Oklahoma. Pilato, where are you watching from? Yeah, guys, Boondock Builds. He's got a great channel. He's making all kinds of cool stuff on his channel. Okay, I thought you were really in the Carolinas. Okay. Yeah, Pilato, lasers are fun. I have a video I put out in the last month on a pretty inexpensive laser. It was the Creality Falcon A1 10-watt laser. So I got a couple of videos out on it. I was pretty happy with it. That's the big thing if you're trying to sell stuff, personalization. You have to be able to personalize it. So, all right, so I'm going to email this to the customer. Let's go see if that's dry over there. It's almost ready to sand again. I'm going to go email the customer real quick. I can't let you guys see that, so. Yeah, Pilato. I mean, I was pretty happy with it. I made a solid walnut keychain. This thing's a little loose. I made a solid walnut keychain and trying to see if I've got it sitting around in the shop. A phone holder with it. I don't know where they are, but no biggie. Oh, thanks, Ray. Appreciate you sharing Jamie's channel. You guys want to stick around and see this thing get engraved? I've just got to wait for her response, and then I just need to sand it and I'm ready to engrave it. But if she doesn't respond in the next few minutes, I'm going to go eat some lunch. So that's where I'm at next, and then I got to move on. After this gets done, have you guys seen my router plate inserts? I make router inserts for my router table. That's for the Cobalt router table. So if you guys have a Cobalt router table, hit me up. Yeah, Pilato, our library has a lot of good stuff, but honestly, I haven't even gone up there. I just hear about it. That's a great resource, though, if you don't want to spend the money or don't have the money to spend. It's a great resource. They also have a lot of cooperative maker spaces. Sometimes you can rent space. So a lot of different options out there. Well, hopefully you can watch it, Jamie. No biggie, brother. Let me go see if she responded real quick. I'll show you the laser. So on my laser, I have multiple. Let me show you. Let me boot this up. I'll show you guys the laser real quick while we're seeing if she'll respond. Just to give you an idea how big that is. The bed size is 51 inches long by 35 and a half usable. So, and I can have a piece of wood that's 9 inches thick in there. Hey, see ya, Pilato. Now, in my laser, you have different heads you have to change out. So I was cutting stuff. I was cutting plywood earlier for those inserts. But now I want to do an engrave for those cutting board. So I've got to take off my head and change it out. Different heads do different functions. Nice, Pilato. Size does matter when it comes to lasers. And most of life, but hey. I've been in a library for probably 50 years. Ray, I'm too cheap to buy books, so I go to the library and check out books all the time. I'll go to the bookstore, find my favorite authors, and take a picture. I just don't like buying books. They take up a lot of space. I buy a few books, a few series, but nothing crazy. All right. So we're just waiting for her to respond. Hey, you see it, Pilato. Nice. Let's see if she responded. Nothing yet. Well, I guess I'm ready to sand those boards in. All right, now we're just waiting on the customer. Runick, what's up, brother? Hey, Ray, man, if you want some cheap hardwood, I started out years ago with pallet wood, which I wouldn't recommend for cutting boards. But after that, I found a local cabinet shop that had free cutoffs, so I could make small cutting boards out of that. All right, she just approved it, so we're good. Let me find out which board is hers. I don't remember. So hers is the one that is not walnut on each side. So it's that first one. Let me grab it real quick. All right. So there's a lot of lasers out there, a lot of different ways to engrave. But I make these squares for the laser beds. They come in handy. You put magnets and it holds it to the bed. So I leave this square in there for the most part. So we're gonna put this board in there and engrave it real quick. All right, and trying to think. I like this one. So I'm just gonna put it in there, line it up. Okay. Then I've got to adjust the height or the focal distance. What that is the distance from the surface of the workpiece to the top of the laser lens. Or laser, whatever, cone lens, whatever. Okay, so that's good. Then I'm going to position it where I want it to start. That looks pretty good. Ray, I used oak when I first started, and everyone always told me oak was horrible. In the last 6 months, there's been an article in Fine Woodworking that said oak is fine, and it actually talked about how the wood draws in anything on the surface to the center of the board where there's no oxygen, and the lack of oxygen kills the bacteria. Pretty cool article, but I personally don't use oak. But based on that article, it's safe. But oak is typically more porous. I've got a lot of maple right now. So maple, cherry, walnut is what I prefer. And, different customers want different things. So I'm going to frame this, which means you guys tell me if it looks like it's on the board correctly. Because this is going to basically tell us where we're going to be engraving. So I'm going to frame it. That's just showing the path of where you're going. Whoops. Wasn't supposed to be way out there. Oh, I didn't remove this other stuff. That's why you always test it. So we'll do that one more time. Hey, Ricker, what's up, man? How you doing, John? What's up, Alan? I just finished these cutting boards today. We planed them, sanded them, routed them. Now we're going to engrave. So thanks for stopping by, guys. So we're going to frame it one more time. I've got this chamfer here. I've got a chamfer, so we're trying to be a little bit above it. Okay, so I'm going to make the design come a little bit to the right. I can still go a little further. We're gonna go ahead and engrave it, guys. Let me go make sure the air's off on the laser. I don't want any air coming to it when I'm engraving. Let's do it. I'll get a better angle for you here. Look, just checking my speeds. All right, let's engrave. See if I can get you a good view down there.